Have you ever wondered why your work environment feels so stressful? Have you come home from a meeting feeling like no one's understanding you or everyone's out to get you? Or does your home feel like there's a lot of tension? Maybe you want your teenager to feel comfortable talking with you, but it's just not working. If any of these are the case for you, then you might have a problem with emotional safety. Creating an environment of emotional safety is essential for a productive workplace, a healthy home, and positive relationships. If you feel tense or like you're being judged all the time, or if you create an environment where people don't feel listened to or understood, then your environment is not emotionally safe. Today we're going to talk about a few ways you can increase emotional safety in your environment. Emotional safety is when people feel appreciated, valued, worthwhile, when they feel like they can trust their environment to be fair and consistent and kind. In an emotionally safe environment, people feel like they can share their vulnerable and sensitive feelings without being mocked, blamed, or judged. Feedback and correction can be given in a calm, safe, and loving manner. People take accountability for their own actions without blame or defensiveness. Differences of opinion can be shared and also accepted. People don't feel like they have to change to be okay. In emotionally safe environments, there's a feeling of honesty and there's a feeling of clear and safe expectations. Some of the indicators of an emotionally safe environment are you feel comfortable around each other. People don't feel like they're going to be attacked. There tends to be open and clear communication. When someone messes up, repairs are made quickly. You'll see an increase in vulnerability and openness where people are sharing their really sensitive feelings. And people feel connected. Now, if you'd like to create an environment like this, you have to focus 95% of your effort on changing yourself, because we are responsible for our environment and what we put out there and what we allow to come into our environment. So most of your effort should be focusing on yourself. I say this because when I talk about emotional safety, I get a lot of people say, oh yeah, the people around me, they're so dangerous, they're so mean, they're so attacking, they're so judgmental, da 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 da. And they don't realize that by saying that and thinking that, they're actually creating an emotionally unsafe environment. Or perhaps the people around them actually are attacking and dangerous, but they aren't taking any steps to create safety for themselves by setting healthy boundaries. So when it comes to emotional safety, focus on yourself. What can you do to create this? The opposite of emotional safety is judgment, blame, attacking. There's a lot of closed off emotions. So people use anger instead of sadness, or they express frustration instead of, expressing that they feel discouraged. Some other indicators of an emotionally unsafe environment is people are constantly giving advice instead of listening, or constantly judging someone else or trying to change them if they don't agree with them. In emotionally unsafe environments, people feel a sense of conditional love. That means, well, I'll love you if you change, or I'll love you when you're good, but not when you're bad. And that creates this constant sense of insecurity. Now, on the receiving end of that, people who are constantly feeling like they aren't good enough or questioning their own self-worth are going to project that on other people. So that's something that needs to be worked on in order to create a feeling of emotional safety. Other indicators of an emotionally unsafe environment are yelling, threatening, or obviously any physical violence. That creates a completely unsafe environment. Defensiveness, blame, using voice tone or a lot of attitude also contribute to a negative environment, as do passive-aggressive statements. One of the most common indicators of an emotionally unsafe environment are using things like personal attacks. So instead of saying, I don't like it when you forget to do your chore, you say, you are the laziest person in the world. That attacking their character, just calling them a lazy SOB. The other thing that's a big indicator of emotionally unsafe environments is when the rules or boundaries or standards are constantly changing. People don't know what to expect. Or when there's a feeling of walking on eggshells. Like, if you say the wrong thing, that person's going to blow up. Or if you do the wrong thing, that person's going to be offended. So those are all indicators of emotionally unsafe environments. We can actively create an environment of emotional safety by working on ourselves. We create an environment of love where we aren't trying to change other people, but rather we put our focus on trying to understand them and listen to them. When the time comes for correction, we are consistent, firm, clear, and fair. We're honest with people, and we share our vulnerable emotions like sadness or hurt instead of only expressing secondary emotions like frustration and anger. We create internal safety by building ourselves up and, standing unoffended, not taking offense by what other people say. We also got to make sure never to use the word emotional safety as a way to badger or try and change someone else. So going up to someone and saying, "You're creating an emotionally unsafe environment," is not going to be helpful. If the environment is actually unsafe, then what we need to do is set boundaries around other people, ask for change, invite change, and when necessary, leave. To create emotional safety, we always have to focus on what's within our own realm of control. So we focus on changing ourselves instead of trying to change other people. If we're in an emotionally unsafe environment, we're less likely to create change by asking someone else to change than we are by setting clear, consistent, and firm boundaries. It is fair to ask other people to change, to make requests, and to tell them how they're affecting you. But it's rarely fair or helpful to expect that someone change or to demand that they change in order for you to accept them. This creates a feeling of powerlessness in yourself because you're demanding that someone else change in order for you to feel okay. We can take back our emotional safety by focusing on our own actions and creating clear, firm, and consistent boundaries with others. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful, and take care.